So welcome everybody to the Center for E-Learning again. We have very special friends today joining us for a session on FAU libraries and the services and resources they provide to our online students. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for coming to our session. I have my colleague Lauri Rebar with me, who will also be covering some actual live portions of our website and resources. And I believe you should be able to click through. Yes, no, maybe so.
There you go. No.
Thank you. So, Distance Learner's Paradise. The library's online resources for distance learners, students, and faculty. So, the first thing we want to do is get a little feedback from all of you. We created this Padlet that could be up on the computers that you have in front of you. Should I be able to click on that and open it up? Oh, there we go. So what has the library done for you lately? My colleague Lauri is reminding me that I have not introduced myself. Forgive me. My name is Rachael, FAU Libraries Reference and Instruction Librarian. I have been at the FAU Libraries for about 12 years, and I'm also an alumna of FAU. I liaise with the Boca campus of PBSC, and I also select books, or will be soon, for psychology, and we're going to be covering some different things here. Right here you have a Padlet. You've got your instructions in the corner where you can see what we want you to tell us. Just double click anywhere on the Padlet. It's kind of like an interactive whiteboard. Double click anywhere and let us know your name. Let us know the last library resource or service that you have used. And if you could, let us know, if it applies, the last library resource or service that you have required or at least strongly encouraged your students to use. I see Lauri is mentioning that Bruce Barron, our colleague in government documents, created a resource page for our course. Oh. I believe that we set it so that these can be moved in case there's any overlap. There is a setting in Padlet that allows you to set not only to allow people to write on it, but to moderate, which seems like you're giving too much control, but it also allows you to have the control in a class so that you can move things around when things do get overlapped. So we have resource guides, interlibrary loan, films, which could be also through interlibrary loan, or it could be streaming. Dunkin' Donuts, yes. Very important part of the library. Padlet training that we had recently had at the Teaching and Technology Conference. Okay, so we're getting a taste of some of the resources that and services that you've all utilized. Let's go ahead and go back to our slides. And you can continue to add things here, leave comments, what have you. So our objectives for you for today are to be thinking about, if you will, say 3 or at least 1 service or resource that you will seek to try for your own research. And at least 1 to 3 resources and services that you might want to require or encourage your students to use in the future. So just to kind of anchor it and think about what are we trying to accomplish today. So quality research. Let's take a look at this. What's going well? What is going well? Do we have students who are enthusiastic, who are tech savvy, who are interested in online learning and taking online courses? What things are they very good at? What are their strengths? What are we really happy with that they're doing? Anybody want to chime in with any answers to that?
They're really good at Googling stuff. Really good at finding general answers.
So they're really good at Googling things, at finding general information, basic answers to things, maybe basic facts and things, maybe what in the library we might call ready reference types of answers. Okay. You see we've got the example of the toddler who is just a whiz at the computer. And then we want to think about what needs improving. How are your students doing with avoiding plagiarism? Are they using Google too much? Are they using poor resources in their papers and projects? Are they not incorporating the library's resources? When they do incorporate the library's resources, are they doing so poorly? Are they using whatever resources that they do use as an afterthought instead of as part of the whole research process, maybe? So I see some nods. I see that perhaps some of the things that we see in the library may also be things that you all see in your classes. And then there's the quality of faculty research. You guys, are teaching, but you also have research that you're expected to do as well. So that is another piece to the puzzle. So how can the library help? So we can support your research and your research skills and your relationship with the library and keeping up with all of the changes that are constantly happening in terms of the resources that we have to offer, the different database interfaces, all of the many technology changes. Supporting you in preventing plagiarism. This is a key strength of ours, and we want to work with you. We want to collaborate with you to help that. And we can help reduce your library anxiety and that of your students, and we're here to help you and your students save time. We're here to save the time of the user. So supporting faculty research, just a taster. We have a few handouts. Thank you. If you want to give me a couple. So we have a few handouts here. We have our handy little bookmark with the library's hours, phone numbers, call number locations, things like that. Things that are really nice to have next to your computer at your office or what have you. We have a brochure on the library's resources and services. And we have what we call our coupon for a research consultation. So a student can come, can make an appointment to come and visit with us one-on-one to get more information on how to approach an assignment, how to approach their research, get caught up, get a refresher, or get a strategy on how to go about things. And this is also good for faculty members and staff members. So if you haven't been over to the library in a while, or you haven't been onto our website in a while, and maybe you need a refresher, this can be helpful for you in your research, and it can help you to make sure that you're a model and an example for your students so that everything is in alignment. Navigating the library's homepage and using our subject guides and our class guides. those are two things I just want to kind of touch on just as tasters. So this is, you know, at the bare minimum, you want to know how to navigate the homepage. So library's homepage, I have circled in red the top 3 resources that you would use to get information. When you or your students come to this page, you want to know where to go to get the information. And so 9 times out of 10, you're coming here and you're using either SearchWise, which is like the Google of the library, or you're going to indexes and databases for smaller or more subject-based versions of SearchWise, or you're going into the library catalog, which is our cozy little cafe where you find things we physically have in the buildings of the libraries, books, musical scores, DVDs, things like that. And then over here in blue, right here and here, I have a few services highlighted. Course reserves, off-campus connect, very important. Interlibrary loan, renewing your books, and of course, Ask a Librarian. Has everyone here heard of Ask a Librarian? So that allows you to go in there and email us, chat with us, text us with those questions that you have. Okay, so first I talked about, just kind of touched on supporting you with your research, because we've got the summer coming up, and that may be when you're focusing on your research. So it's a great time to be thinking about that. How can we support you in your faculty research? Another thing that you may be working on over the summer may be, you know, taking the e-certification course, or just reworking your syllabi, planning for the fall semester, and thinking about what you're going to do to collaborate with the library. So maybe you're going to bring your class into the library for an instruction session in the fall semester. You probably want to start thinking about that now, how to tie that into things. And when you're going to schedule it, you want to request that early before our fall semester calendar gets filled up. Library-friendly assignments to prevent plagiarism. I'm going to touch on that in a second. Course reserves, embedding library materials in the Blackboard, for instance, using Perl, streaming video, etc. This is a big piece, of course. So supporting course development, just highlighting where you can put in a request for a library instruction session, and some of these other services that Lauri is going to touch on a little bit later. Okay, so we can tell you about the resources and the services that we have. We can tell you about things that you can use. We can tell you about things that the students can use. We can provide tutorials and help pages and guides and things for you to embed into your Blackboard courses and put into your syllabi and so forth. But if there's no link between the services and the resources that we offer and the assignments that you give, then there's not going to be as much of the teeth to really drive your students to use our services and use our resources. They're busy, you're busy, and so that's how those research skills, those library skills, those citing skills, and what have you fall through the cracks when there isn't that link. So one idea, because you have a lot of professors. I see a lot of professors do one of two things. You're the one end of the spectrum or the other. Either they're so afraid of requiring any outside sources because you're so afraid that they're just not going to use the good resources anyway. They're just going to go into Google and use Wikipedia. So I'm just going to skirt around that and not require it. Understandable. But then later on, they're going to get the classes where they are required to do a full term paper, and they are not. They're going to be out of their depth. And then they're going to be overwhelmed, and then they're going to use things as an afterthought and really struggle with incorporating things into the process. So we understand that you have a lot of things on your plate. You don't have a lot of time to incorporate extra assignments and then grade all of these extra things. So we're mindful of that. And so one idea is at the beginning of the semester, you know, when they're developing topics for any projects they may be doing in your courses, you know, have them choose a topic and, you know, have them submit it to you so that they're getting your approval. Maybe work with us so that we can help them along with that. And have them get one book from the library, one scholarly peer-reviewed journal article. Cite it in APA style or MLA or what have you. Annotate it or introduce a quote and give you the in-text citation properly. Plant those seeds in a low-stress kind of way and find out where they are with things, get them started with it, and that way when they do have the big assignments, it won't be as overwhelming or difficult. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, thanks.
So then, you know, you've talked to us about your research, you've talked to us about your course development, then it's the fall semester, and now you're, you know, actually teaching and thinking about supporting student research and, you know, what can you offer them or remind them of during the semester if you haven't incorporated things into your syllabus. So I created a little acronym here to just touch on a few things. There's obviously so much that, you know, you could potentially tell them about. But, you know, for one thing, the research consultations. And if you have an online course, we do offer Google Hangout or Skype for Business consultations. So we could give a consultation online or in person. Interlibrary loan, making your students aware of that, especially your graduate students. Ask a librarian. That should probably be at the top of the acronym, but what are you going to do? So that if they do have a situation where it's midnight and it's the night before and they are struggling to finish that paper, they can reach out to somebody. And of course, OWL cards for distance learners. There is a way for the distance learners to get those OWL cards, and so knowing about that is obviously one of the core things to know about.
That's a good question. Do the students all have access to Skype for Business? I know that we have it on automatically on the computers, but
I'm not sure. You know, it's a really good question. That, you know, that may be more for faculty.
yes. Brian says yes.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Yes,
Same
thank you.
Same thing with the
Those are
Office Suite. Same thing with the Office 365 Suite. They just go to support Microsoft or Microsoft.com and they can download that whole 365 Suite with their FAU logins.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, they do. So we've got a lot of options. So remember those objectives. What resources and services are you going to try this summer? Maybe things that I've mentioned or things that you want to just go into the website and play around with and figure out. And what things are you going to require your students to access? Or at least strongly encourage? And how can you think about collaborating with us to make sure that the language of your assignment instructions are very clear and aligned with the reality of how people are going to access them? Yes?
When you talk about the assignments being really clear, do you ever come across instructors who say you cannot use any internet sources? And do students think that means they can't use any online resources like indexes and databases?
Yes, we don't see that as often these days, but you do still see it every now and then. You know, if anything is unclear about the instructions that are given to a student, we find out. They come to us and we find out about it. And so there are times when a professor is well-meaning and they say, don't use any online sources. And so we then have to sometimes contact the professor and say, can we just get a little clarification? Do you mean no online sources at all? Which obviously is becoming less and less frequently happening, but or do you just mean don't use Google? The other piece that we get is professors will offer a short list of journals for them to use, which is very helpful. And if it's just a suggestion so that they get the idea of what a scholarly journal title in their field looks like, and so forth, that's good. But when you require that they just use those journals, and they've got other requirements involved in that assignment, it has to be on a certain topic, or it has to be articles published within the last X number of years, or what have you. It gets hairy because discovering those articles, they're going to have to go into each individual journal. It's going to be very time consuming. But if you allow them to go into a database and find the relevant articles and start learning how to evaluate what comes up and how to search for the peer-reviewed ones, that can be more effective, and we can help you to do that in a way that supports them so that they're not just out there floundering as well. So in summary, we can help you refresh your research skills, share and model best practices for library research. We can help you embed resources into Blackboard. We can help you successfully encourage intelligent and ethical use of the library's resources and prevent plagiarism. Coming attractions, just a few things that I want to mention before Lauri comes on over here. We are working on a library DIY resource guide. Lauri is actually coordinating that project, and she's doing so very well. It's going to allow people to have a place to go and have basically sticky notes is what it'll look like. And any of the typical questions you would have about the library, they'll very easily be able to find the answers to those. So that's a really exciting thing that we're happy about and looking forward to. The week after Mother's Day, we're closing the library to the public, except faculty and graduate students can get things retrieved. Painting the first and second floors. We're so happy about this. And something else on the horizon is a Pillars and Platforms resource guide. So, just some tasters. And bringing it back to supporting faculty research, I'm going to switch it over to Lauri.
This is where I'm going to need some guidance from on high as far as getting back to the actual web page. So Brian, how am I going to do that?
Oh, yeah.
I can't see it. Oh, okay. Well, you can leave that up for just a second. This is the final slide in here, and you are going to want to become really familiar with these and know about these. We have a distance learning guide, which covers a lot of different things. There's a faculty guide, and there's also a guide specifically on developing assignments in coordination with the library. And you can switch that then. What Rachael showed you is kind of like the appetizer and the menu out there. And what we're going to do is just focus on a little portion of this today. And then she's been asked to be able to come back. And so she'll be touching on other aspects of this. So as you have questions too, please go ahead and just stop me. I'm going to end up starting, Brian's bringing us up to the FAU library homepage. And if you take a look at the bookmark that you have, at both the middle top in red and at the bottom in red is the library's URL. So that's an easy way for you to be able to find your way around there. There are a couple things to be able to point out to you. Today's hours are always going to be up at the top. So we close, it's Friday, we close at 6 p.m. We promised that we were going to do certain things today, and so we want to go ahead and show you certain things that we think will make life easier. Like at the top, this is all newly designed as of the fall semester. And so you're going to see all the different departments. So if you want to look at a particular department that we have, and we happen to be referencing instructional services, but we have lots of other departments, then you could go there. Under services, this is probably one of the most used ones, and we promised we'd tell you about services. So were you aware that we have ADA equipment inside the library for students? We actually do. Distance learners. Ooh, there's a distance learners policy. So this makes it really easy because you can go directly there. Rachel mentioned about OWL cards for distance learners. And here's the link. And your students just have to go ahead, fill that in, and they'll have the OWL card without their picture mailed to them. If they want to get their picture put on later, I believe there's an additional charge. So we've got our online library resources. You know that if students are off campus, they're going to have to do the off-campus connect. You're all familiar with that. I'm going to show you where it's at on the library's homepage. Borrowing privileges. And we'll end up going over this in more detail, I'm certain, at another time too. But they do have borrowing privileges. They can go ahead and undergraduates, have 3 weeks to borrow. Graduate students can borrow for an entire semester, just like faculty can. We have something called U-Borrow. That means that if FAU does not own the books and it's owned by another one of the state universities, it's a physical book, and if it's available, they can borrow it. And so this talks about how this can actually be done. You also have distance learning students can borrow materials at other Florida State universities and the local community colleges by them. So that makes it extra easy for them too, so they're not just locked into FAU's resources. If they're up there, I was just taking a class with somebody at Indian River State College, so they could go there and use their resources, their physical resources. Okay? So we've got all kinds of other things. We'll touch more on interlibrary loan at a different time, but there are resources for students there. And one of the best things for you is this little chart about if you have technical problems, who you would contact for them. It always seems to be a. Okay, collections. We have all different types of collections, and we have them named in different ways. So just so that you can go in and take a look. The About is probably the other page that you're going to use quite a bit. You can find out how to contact us in different areas. Job openings, they have to go through, especially with students, they have to go through HR. That's a common question. Staff directory, etc. FAQs, we promised you FAQs. And so this is our FAQs right now, but as Rachel was saying, we're doing this DIY guide, and that's going to incorporate most of this. So this will probably be fading away over the next couple of semesters as we put the DIY guide up. Hours, locations. You all are aware that we have the Jupiter campus. For those of you who are north, we also have the Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute. That is a secure campus. So not everybody is aware of that it's not just a walk-in kind of place. We also coordinate and have services at the Davie, Broward College, and also the Fort Lauderdale, Maine. So news and events. Believe it or not, we do have events. We do have exhibits. We've got all kinds of things going on. And y'all are always welcome. There's also the past news, etc. We have social media. So if you want to keep track of what's going on, Facebook is one of the easiest ones because if it's really, really important, change in library hours, we're open late because of exams, anything like that, you're going to see it as well as announcements. Those are our partner campuses. So Rachel mentioned library catalog, indexes, databases, and SearchWise. So library catalog, as you can see, just opens to the basic search. You want to go to advanced search. So you can limit things by location. You can limit things by format. And if you happen to have students who are looking for videos, those are all located down there. Notice streaming video is one of those options. We have a very large streaming video collection. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. Sound recordings. One that I especially like for students is this biography, autobiography, because it makes it so much easier for them when they're looking. They're not going to get just what the author wrote about, but they will also be able to get the biographies. Language, we have things in many different languages. And this, I think, is really neat. I've shown this to some students that have been the Navitas group or some of the international students. And it's one of those things that I think kind of makes them feel a little bit more embraced. So keep that in mind for them. You know, you can indicate that you want things published only in a certain year. You have a few other options here. You all are familiar with Boolean operators, I'm sure. I'm not going into that right now. But they, other than to say that you can say, I want this and this, or this or this, and makes it narrower or makes it broader. Not means don't want it. So let's go ahead and can you just go ahead and put in library and do a search. So you're able to see everything. You're always going to have an icon. It's always going to tell you the campus. If you want to limit your campus, all of your limiters are here on the left. You can click on a plus, it will always open things up. In addition to showing you the campus, if it's Boca campus, it's going to show you which floor it's on. You're going to have a call number, the availability. Notice red. We all know red means stop. So that means it's not available. In addition to showing you physical books, you're going to see streaming videos, things in all of our different collections, ebooks, and you'll also see the journal names. Now you're not going to be, this is not the primary place where you would go to look for journals, but this is one place, especially if you find it's an older journal that maybe you have on the shelf. Format, you can limit by format. Don't often do series title, but you might want to. Subject topic, a great way to do subtopics. The number to the right indicates how many items were found in your results. You can choose more than one item and then say that you want to submit it. Down, so you can get an idea how that is. You can go by author, and then all of these other areas too, which you probably wouldn't use as often. So even if you hadn't gone into advanced search and hadn't clicked on language, you could always go ahead and limit things by language here. You all know about going and clicking on a title. Title's going to give you more information about the book. You can have it emailed, so this will email the information. You can add, you can create a folder, so if you have people, yourself or students who need to get information, create a list, they can then email that to themselves. Permalink. Say you want to link to a particular book and you want to be able to have this catalog information come up when your students are looking at it in Blackboard. You're going to use this permalink that's created, and that will take them directly back to this information here.
So if you had a reading list that you wanted to put in your online course, you could create it in a folder in here and then give a hyperlink to the list?
No. Instead of giving the hyperlink to the list, I guess you probably could do that, but I think that that would be harder for people. Okay. I would probably give them the permalink per item. Okay. And I think that would end up being easier for them overall. Okay. You're probably familiar with the site this. This lets students see what the computer says, and we like to stress that to them. What the computer says is how their citation is going to look. And obviously we like to remind them that the computer is not the one getting graded. They are getting graded, so please check it out. And if you want to go back to the, and back one more. So say I don't have what our FAU does not have what I want. Are you all familiar with UBorrow? Yes? No? Okay. UBorrow allows you to borrow items from other state universities. So not the state colleges, but the state universities. And it's a faster method of getting things than interlibrary loan. So you click on UBorrow. It's going to open up to the catalog. And this actually will show you universities and colleges, but you can break things down here. And you'd be able to go ahead, again, you can break things down here by collection, etc. And Let's pretend FAU doesn't have this book and this is the one I want. All I have to do is click to show all locations, make sure one of the other state universities has it as available, and then I can go ahead and request it. I request it by hitting uBorrow. It should open up, and it won't do it for me right now, probably, because FAU owns it. Oh, but it's working. Put in my OWL card number without the A beginning or end. Put in my verification, that's my PIN based on my birth date. Submit it, my name will show across the top, so you know that they know who you are. It will say which campus do you want it delivered to. If you'd rather have it delivered to Jupiter, not a problem, whatever. And then it will say successful. You'll get an email at your My FAU email address when it's arrived and it's waiting for you in circulation. Okay. And we can actually go back to the FAU library homepage, which I think if you click here will do the same thing too. No, it's not. I lied to you. Indexes, databases. Y'all are probably really familiar with indexes and databases, but let's just look really quickly, in case you're not. We did change things up a little bit, so it's very easy. Database by title, it's all alphabetical. This is one of my favorite things, databases by subject or topic. So you can go ahead and narrow things down for your students. Also down here, electronic books and text, as well as streaming videos. Yes?
Do you ever encounter students who think they're supposed to search right there for their topic?
I encounter students who think they're supposed to search wherever it is they're at, yes. Yeah. So what are they going to find here? They're going to find the database, which is going to obviously include a lot of different journals. Search-wise, we're going to talk about in a minute. They could also get directly to the list of the electronic journals. And citation linker, this is an easy way if you know the all the facts of the citation, or most of them. Are any of you familiar with browsing? Have you used browsing? It's fantastic. Okay, I'm hearing a fantastic. I've seen most everybody else hasn't seen it though, so browsing is neat. It's your own little personal, and you can do this on your desktop, on your tablet, on your phone. I have it on my phone. And you create your own little bookshelf of journals. And it makes it so easy to get into. You can browse by topic, but it's so nice to get there and you've got 5 minutes somewhere and you're reading an article, you can save the article. It's just amazing.
Does that require your Z number or anything?
You would end up having to log in to indicate the first time that you're associated with FAU, so it would know that. But like on my phone, it knows who I am. Since I provided that once and I have to log into my phone, it knows. It's really fun. We have mobile databases and apps. Some of those are particular just to the database. In other words, the database creator created them, not FAU libraries. We also offer a database of the month so that you can get a little bit more of a profile of particular databases. If you want to see which new databases we have, you can click here. Trial subscriptions. This may be of interest to you. I don't know if you're even aware of this, but we have different databases that are on trial. You all are welcome to go ahead and look at them, evaluate it, and send in your information to our collection personnel. Because maybe these are things that would be of interest that you wouldn't think of, and you had no idea were
Just
available.
remember they are trials, and we may not have the funds to actually buy them.
But it's a great thing to be able to know that that exists. On and off the shelf, I don't know if you all are familiar with that either. That's our online blog, all about different resources that we have at the library. So you'll find out about databases as well as books generally. And you can also see which databases were canceled. Okay, so if we can go back to the library's homepage.
I'm sorry, Lauri, who's managing the trials? Is it subscriptions?
That's through our electronic resources personnel.
Thank you.
One of the things that Rachel showed you was this coupon, and just so you know, that coupon is, this is your reference consultation right here. And so that's where it's at. She mentioned the instructional session. That's where that's at. We have library workshops, and so we don't have our calendar for summer, but generally we've been offering them every semester. So lots of different things. Borrowing privileges, faculty reserves. A lot of this Rachel's going to end up going through in the future, but if you end up with questions, go ahead and contact us. Yes?
Question. For something like an instructional session request or workshops, do you have any of those recorded that we could actually link them to our course? Like, for example, when Bruce came to my class, he made this nice LibGuide and he showed everyone how to use it. Is it possible to get something like that recorded that we could link it to our online classes?
We do not have the facilities to do that. This is the online or the instructional session request form. I had one class where an instructor was teaching both in person and also online, and I did a 35-minute video. It took a lot of time. We don't have anything like this, so when we have students in the room, we can't just have, like Bruce was doing a class, couldn't just record that, and we have too many students generally for something like this right now. That would be ideal, but we don't have any way. However, for distance classes, you can request, and here's your reference consultation also. So here's the online Skype or the online Google Hangout, gives people their preferences as far as which they'd rather do. And you can also request a, I don't know if the form is up here. Am I not seeing it? We do have a request form for, it's actually in here. It's kind of a long way around the barn. We are restructuring things, so hopefully this will make life a little easier. Request a class LibGuide. If you are a distance instructor, you can request a LibGuide even without scheduling a class. So if you want a LibGuide created for your online class or even your face-to-face class, we can do that. We'll consult with you, find out what your needs are, what the students are going to be asked to do in your class, and then be able to do that for you.
Lauri, who do we talk to about that?
You can just fill out this form.
Okay.
And it actually will be going to Christy Padrone, who does all of our scheduling of that, or Ken Frankel. And Ken has been also working with regard to the online classes.
And that form is located at which prompt?
It's located
In services or?
It was, let me go backwards, services. It was under departments. We'll have to find, we're redoing some of the things on the website, and I will make note of that. Reference and instructional services. It's really a long way around the barn.
There it was, request the
And then it's down here, requested class LibGuide. Yes.
If I can just chime in as well, even if we don't have something recorded, if there is any specific thing, that we can help, even whether it be creating a screencast, a short screencast on something very specific, or a handout showing them the steps to do something. So even if we don't have a full class recording, but there's something that they're having trouble with, and you just want to make sure they understand the process for accessing something, or how to properly do something, we could try to work with you as needed.
And we have a variety of tutorials available already.
So I just went to services and tutorials webcast and right online. So we have all of these different things that are available, and each one is a very short, under 5 minutes. And so you can see the wide variety of things that are specific to a particular program, doing search strategies, peer review, popular. You don't want to have to deal with giving the instructions to your students on the difference between scholarly and popular. Use this, go ahead then and test them afterwards, or use this in conjunction with what you're saying. So any of these things you can go ahead and embed. These are also all on our YouTube channels. So take advantage of that. And as Rachel said, if you see something that's missing, something that you'd like to be able to automatically offer, you say, hey, you brought this up, how come there isn't something? Let us know. Make it easy for both of us. Okay, search-wise, How many of you have used SearchWise? Okay. And I see some who say not at all. So I'm going to just move this up. As you can see, it's in the center of the screen. And this is going to work very similar to a catalog search. Now, it wants me to put in something. And if I don't, it's going to, and I hit enter, it will take me into the interface. But what shall we search for?
And it'll tell you how many items are in there too.
Put in JAM.
Okay, so as Ken said right here, this is how many items are coming up in this whole list. This is a combination of journal articles, conference proceedings, books, ebooks. People say, why would I ever go to the library catalog if this includes books? Because our library catalog does a better job of some of the things that you'd expect the library catalog to do.
I like to lovingly say it's like hitting a thumbtack with a hammer. If you try to find books in SearchWise.
Yeah.
You can do it, but it's overwhelming.
And another thing to point out about this is that those aren't all unique items because this is combining hundreds of different databases and the same items may appear in multiple databases, so they'll come up more than once. Yes.
So this is going to look very familiar to what we saw in the library catalog. You again have your filters here on the left. It makes it easy for students who are doing peer review because it's easy for them to hit peer review. And then all of a sudden, the numbers go down. So it's very nice for them if they need to be able to start understanding about reducing the number of sources that they are going to. So we said peer review, so that means I'm going to do a journal article. Discipline, I find, is kind of tricky. I don't know, do you guys use discipline much? I don't.
I do.
Do you? Okay. I tend to not, probably because I think there's too much overlap, and I hate to just choose one, but I love this because you can do this, and we all love when we can move things. Well, we could.
Oh, here?
Yeah. See? Or you can put in, you could just put in the year, so you can put in 2014 or 2011 or whatever. And if you only put in the year, it defaults to January 1st. This happens to be nice because it doesn't require you to put in any date, and it will always take it to the last date that something is available. So if you get things that are in pre-publication, with a pre-publication date, it will pick those up, which is nice. Subject terms is by far my favorite, and again, the number to the right indicates how many items were found within that topic. The results. Hitting more is going to bring up this list. And so it becomes very simple then for somebody. We had, what was our, JAMA was our,
JAM.
okay. And so say we were only looking at the genetics part, JAMA and genetics. And we could go ahead and put in additional things. Maybe it was, and we only wanted to do one with males. And we could go ahead and put that information in. You go back to the top and hit apply. Now people say, why is there an exclude? Well, let's say that you wanted to exclude just one area that you know was going to come up. It was going to be irritating because it wasn't exactly what you wanted. This works especially when you have things that have multiple meanings. You need to narrow things down.
Where's the exclude option?
The exclude option was
Subject terms.
it was in subject terms and oops.
Brian's playing around.
Okay, so here's my exclude, and it allows me to exclude all of those same items come up as options. But I tell people, don't say exclude unless you really mean it. When I say include, I'm getting tons and tons of stuff already. But anyway.
Lauri, do you find SearchWise more effective than going into the single databases like?
It depends. There are some databases I would never try to do nursing in here except for some general stuff, because I know if I go into CINAHL, I can narrow things down. I've got my nurses author, nurses first author. I've got all these different things that I might not find otherwise. There's certain databases, if I'm looking at the art online or music online, I want to go into those directly. I'm not going to get results like I would find here. So SearchWise is a great place if you don't know where to start. And SearchWise is a great place if you have lots of things that you have to find, but you have to know what some of the limitations are.
Or if you want an interdisciplinary perspective.
Exactly. And that's, I guess, why I hate that discipline. It's just all intertangled in there. But yeah, that's why I think that indexes and databases are here to stay. But I think SearchWise is also.
If I can put my nose in a little bit one more time, is a really big piece for me with SearchWise is the topic development piece. You know, if you put in, say, global warming, you're going to be overwhelmed with terms. And, you know, students are not going to automatically know that they need to spend more time getting more specific. You know, what is it about global warming that you want to focus on? You know, knowing that they are entitled to get a little bit pie in the sky. Maybe they're a criminology major and they have no idea how they could possibly tie their real interests in with that topic. Well, if you're in SearchWise, you might have a way to do that. And so we like to say that topic development is research, and that is one of the things that we can help you with your students.
Yeah, and I think this really shows up because you have anything from data processing with global warming here to China, so you can look at a specific place, to the economics of it, et cetera. So it really does lend itself to being able to find distinct areas and narrow topics. So one of the things that you will find on the right-hand side is it typically is going to give you, this is very nice, this says Encyclopedia Britannica, sometimes it says Wikipedia, but keep in mind if people don't know anything about a topic, just something that will give them half an idea of where to start is probably better than them going in cold. And so when Encyclopedia Britannica has appropriate material, that's in, otherwise it defaults to Wikipedia. The database recommendations. They are much better than they used to be, but I generally am not using these much because I have so much information down here. I may keep this in mind for later, but what I would suggest if you're not finding what you want here, contact one of the librarians because we'll be happy to help you drill down and find things. And that may save you a lot of frustration. If I hover, and because this isn't working the same way, but if I hover over here, it should give me my abstract. And then down here, I'm going to have my subject headings. This becomes another large piece for them to be able, for students or for you, to be able to go ahead and narrow topics. So we really like that. Part two, it's nice because you also have the read online, comes up directly here. The citation information, you can also email the link here. It's going to tell you also that it's full text online versus just being a citation. And you can also click here, or that read online to get to the actual article. Our articles, some of them, if they're HTML, may come up with a listen. This may be great for you when you have students, especially international students, may find that this is really good. You have students who are commuting a long way. This may be for you. You decide that you want to be listening to some things instead of reading them. So lots and lots of tools down here. I have been told that I need to cut things off. So are there any last questions?
So there's, what is the consultation with the librarians? Is that we can make an appointment and go and have any of our questions answered?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And you'll notice we didn't touch on a whole lot of things. Rachel's planning on touching on those things in the future, but if you have questions about them and you haven't seen another session come up with the library here, by all means get in contact with us. If you look at, again, at the bookmark, there's a reference phone number. you can always feel free to call that. That goes to the reference desk. When it doesn't go to the reference desk, it goes to the reference office. So you'll be able to get in touch with one of the librarians. You also got another brochure that said services, resources and services. So that kind of goes along with all of those other things between the services departments, et cetera, to help you get to know more about the library.
Thank you.